I Love Mortgage Brokering, episode 82.
Where the best mortgage brokers get better. I Love Mortgage Brokering with your host, Scott Peckford.
Hi, Broker Nation. I'm thrilled to introduce our guest today, Rob Stone. He's the owner of MrTaxes.ca. He started Mr. Taxes in 1983. They have over 15,000 clients across the country and a team of accountants who helps file all those tax returns. Most recently, he started NOACanada.ca, which helps people, brokers, and clients get their NOAs quick. I'm excited to interview Rob today. Rob, you ready to rock?
We're ready.
Awesome. So, Rob, tell me, before we get into NOACanada.ca and what you guys are doing, just tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got into this business of yours.
Well, I started doing income tax with my grandparents at the kitchen table, through public school and high school, but never actually thought of it as a business. I went into the trades and had a serious injury in 96, had to change careers, so started doing bookkeeping and accounting. And that eventually, I couldn't wait actually to get back out on my own, working for myself, and finally incorporated Mr. Taxes in 2010. So that's brought us up to where we are now. But I didn't start out doing tax. It was, I kind of fell into it.
Right. So it was a family business that you'd sort of had learned, and then recently, MrTaxes.ca. But you started filing taxes, you said, in 1983.
Yeah, we had the proof of backdating the trademark in Canada, so I figured out it was actually in high school I filed my first return. Actually, I had a friend, they got a T4 in the mail there in the spring, and he said, hey, can you help me out? I know you do tax returns with your grandparents, so help them file its first return in high school.
Right. That's awesome. So a high school business that's morphed into an online business that helps people get, obviously file taxes, but also in the broker industry. Anyway, what's interesting to me and the people that I've talked to is just the ability to be able to get NOAs for people. Sometimes people can't find them. So you had this idea for Mr. Taxes. So what, other than the NOA business, what other things do you guys do?
Well, the NOAs were, one of the other things we're doing that is a little bit outside the box, for example, in BC is medical services premium assistance applications. If somebody's making a great income like you do in the mortgage industry, you may have a bad year and your income drops to under $30,000, your net income, all of a sudden you're still paying BC medical, and you don't have to. So we actually file retroactive premium assistance applications. And one of the requirements for filing those is obtaining your NOAs. So you need to file that with the NOA for each year. And we can go back 10 years on the system with Canada Revenue to get NOAs going back 10 years. But BC Medical, you're only allowed to file back 6 years for a retroactive refund on overpayments. Mm-hmm. And we estimate there's over $100 million of overpaid premium assistance applications out there available for refunds, but people just don't know about it.
And how big are these refunds typically?
Max is out at about $700-800. That's some of the max. But we had one fellow. He was a contractor. Went through a disability application, got that approved, and he was still paying his medical services premiums. He didn't know that because his income had dropped, he didn't have to, and he'd been doing this for 8 years.
So he was able to get back those for the entire 8 years?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. And so what do you must obviously charge for this because people aren't doing it themselves. So how does it work?
Well, for premium assistance applications, we charge $20 per year. So we charge $120 if you don't receive any refunds back. So the first $120 of refunds would go for paying your fee with
mm-hmm.
us. And the remaining $7,580 would go to you. If you've been overpaying for 6 years at the maximum rate.
That's pretty cheap in terms of the cost for someone to have it done. And then, so how do you find people that have this problem? Because I'm thinking I didn't even know that this was a problem. How do you find people that have this particular issue?
It actually started, there was a girl in our office, and we were receiving collection calls from Revenue Services BC. And I asked, I said, what's it for? We don't. I tell people if they're looking for a pigeon, go to the park. So we're not going to, give up our staff or our clients to anybody, especially Canada Revenue. But Revenue Services was calling saying, you have somebody working there who, and we sent them the fax so they would stop calling us. And then she came to me a little bit embarrassed and said, yeah, I have this problem. And we went back and looked at her, pulled her notices of assessment online for the past 6 years and looked at them and said, hey, you know what? You don't actually even owe any of this money. So she hadn't paid it. They were collecting, and that would have gone on her credit bureau as well. So when she would have gone to apply for a mortgage, that would have affected her. she might not even have qualified with a credit rating like that.
You help people with the medical services plan, and is that right across Canada? That's like a Canada thing, not a provincial thing, right?
It is, but in a couple of the provinces work differently. In BC, it's actually a separate program, so you have to file these applications if your income drops to under $30,000. So between $22,000 and $30,000, you have a reduced premium for medical services. If it's below $22,000, you don't have to pay anything. She was below $22,000 for all 6 years. She had one great year out of college with that, and then she just didn't pay the bills over these years, and finally went to collections.
This is interesting. It'd be a good piece of information to share with clients. I mean, I could imagine putting something like this in one of my newsletters to my clients. Actually, I never call it a newsletter, but we call it a VIP club. But put it in there and say, hey, if you know of anybody who's had income go down, and if you may qualify for a rebate of your medical services that you aren't even aware of. So then,
well, sorry, Scott. The first week, we actually put this out to all our clients, not in our newsletter, but we just sent it out as an email. We did an export from our database with all the emails and sent it out to our clients. At that point, we were probably at half the numbers we are now. But the first week, we had 150 requests come in to file these applications.
Wow.
So there's people out there that are doing it. We just had another client yesterday come through the door. She's been in BC 2 years. She signed up for medical services when she got here. She's been paying for 2 years at full rate. She hasn't even worked in 2 years, but she thinks that she's required to pay it.
Right.
One of the best kept secrets with the BC government and their revenue streams, charging people for services they don't have to charge them for.
Right. Okay, that's pretty
Kind
cool.
of sounds like the banks.
The banks don't do that. What are you talking about? That's not how it works. You know how. So let's talk about the NOA side of the business. So where I got connected with you is I had heard about through the I Love Mortgage Brokering Facebook group that there's people saying, hey, how do I get NOAs quick? And then your company kept coming up. And so tell me about how that works and what you guys do for people looking for NOAs.
Well, just a little backtracking, Scott, is we started networking, our business. You go to the networking events, and we marketed our avatar, our target client. It was, we defined it as mortgage brokers, realtors, and financial planners, because all of us in all these four industries work with professionals. We work with people that have, mid to high net worth, mid to high income, mid to high net worth as well, homeowners. Those were the type of clients we wanted to attract. And as a result of working with mortgage brokers, we started doing tax work for mortgage brokers because it's a different type of tax return and self-employed return. Mortgage brokers started referring clients to us, and that was the plan from the get-go. But as a result of working with the mortgage brokers' clients, they're now mutual clients. Mortgage brokers, every year they call us and say, hey, so-and-so doesn't have their notices of assessment. They told us we could go to you and you might be able to get them. Well, we started pulling these, and we had to put an extra staff member on it. It started getting so busy. So now it's morphed off into a separate entity. NOAcanada.ca is the website, and you can go online, order the NOAs. We guarantee them in 24 hours or less.
And what's the cost of it?
We charge $50, but that we put together as a standard package. It includes the last 3 years of NOAs. We include a balance statement for any balances owing. If there is a balance owing, we'll print off the full statement, but we'll just print off the summary that's showing a zero balance, which is what a lot of the lenders are looking for. And then a 10-year summary showing the history over the last 10 years. And when we go in, when we access the client's account through the back end in CRA, we actually do a quick review. We have 10 points that we look at to see if the client has an opportunity to save any further tax, anything they've missed. And a lot of times they're moving from another province, for example. One of the first things on our checklist is, we check the province where the NOA was filed or where the return was filed. If they've moved from another province, we check the return the following year. If there's no moving expenses claimed, bam, that's a minimum $1,500 if you move between provinces in a moving claim. And we just suggest this to the clients, and bingo, all of a sudden we got 5 new clients.
That's awesome. So for you guys, it's a client acquisition strategy. Obviously, make a little bit of money on it. You're not going to retire doing $50 NOA searches. One of the things we didn't talk about before we got on the air, so I'm putting you on the spot right now, but do you have some kind of a program that we could do, some kind of promotion for the mortgage brokers of I Love Mortgage Brokering? Specifically, I'm thinking about our Facebook group that we could help. Do you have any ideas on that?
Something that we could do is give away 5 NOAs just to let your listeners try out our service. We do guarantee the NOAs retrieved within 24 hours. business hours, and that's if they have our authorization document for CRA signed. So we'll give away 5 NOAs.
Okay, so anybody listening, the way this is going to work, this goes live Wednesday. If you go share it on the Facebook group or you share it on Facebook, we'll put you in the draw and we'll give away 5 of them and we'll just give you a certificate. And then when you get a chance, you'll be able to use it. So that sounds awesome. I really appreciate that, Rob. So what's next for you guys?
So I'm glad you asked. We were actually working on a tax filing app. So it's a mobile app that actually connects the taxpayer with professionals out in the field. I don't know if the listeners have heard yet, but all of the professional accounting organizations have now morphed into one. They're all going to become CPA. So CMA, CGA, and CAs are all morphing into CPA. What it will do, this app, is really conveying documents safely and securely online to a tax preparer in your area that's been vetted by us, using our online software to actually file a return and have refunds deposited directly in clients' accounts within 24 hours. That's our goal. We're hoping to have it done by mid-January.
So an online mobile platform that allows people to file their taxes and connects them with local experts is what the plan is.
Yes, and where this evolved from was bookkeepers are now, well, the bookkeeping software, the bookkeepers or accounts are now preparing T4s. T4s are going to come out with barcodes, and the barcodes will be able to be scanned into mobile devices very easily. So think of it as a scanner. Instead of carrying around a giant scanner and a computer, you can now just take a snapshot of your T4s, upload them to your nearest tax preparer, and have your returns done within 24 hours or less, just like we're doing with the NOAs.
Oh, that's pretty slick. So you guys are definitely a technology company who happens to be in the tax business, and I'm excited about what you're doing. Definitely, anybody listening, go check them out. And if you want, we're going to do the draw on Wednesday at the end of the day. So we want to get a big push out. If you listen to the show, go and share it, and then we'll do a draw for five listeners to be able to get one of these. I really appreciate your time, man, and I hope that you continue to crush it with your online businesses.
Yeah, thanks a million, Scott.